All right, this is a thrill. We're sitting here at the Simsbury Inn in Connecticut with the GOAT. We got Joel Quenneville, the greatest of all time. Coach, thanks so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you, and thank you guys for coming out for the tournament. I appreciate you guys being involved with it, knowing Connor, and you guys just coming out and supporting it and be a part of it. It was a pleasure to have you guys get the privilege of playing golf yesterday with a couple of I don't know, but we're going to call them goats. But we're going to say we had fun out there with Kevin, and thank you for being so supportive. And I look forward to having some conversation today.
All right, we're here in Avon, Connecticut. We're playing in the Connor Zeke Invitational Tournament. We got my guy Eddie. We got this guy over here. Ever heard of him?
Coach, I got to break something to you.
Uh-oh.
I've only golfed 3 times in my life.
Yeah, I play like I only golf 3 times in my life. Yeah.
So I could add camaraderie, morale, maybe give you some reads on the putts, but that's what I'm here for.
Right. Kevin's the A player here. He's going to have to carry our squad.
Sounds like a plan, boys. Yeah. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, and that's most importantly here, Coach. Connor Scott Zeke Foundation, that's what we're here for. CS Zeke, Z-I-E-K-Y fund.org. Great cause. Was your nephew. And, I mean, let me tell you, the event, it blew me away, really, seeing how many of us, the friends and the family, and it was just really an awesome golf outing. So we're thrilled to be a part of it.
And I had countless messages about him when everything happened, and it just seems like everybody loved him so much, and it was great to see everybody who cared about him all kind of come together for this event, and we really are honored to have that invite. So thanks so much for doing this and having us out yesterday. It's been a perfect weekend for us.
Yeah, Connor was loved by everybody. Everybody was associated with Connor. There always was a great memory, and he grew up with my son as his best friend. He's my nephew. And, it was a tough loss for everybody in the family. And, there's some things we can learn through Connor. And I think just everybody's involvement, the guys and the kids that all came back to the tournament now for the 3rd year in a row, they have the best time of their lives getting back together. It's their signature weekend of the summer. They all target it, and they have fun seeing one another again. Connor feels like he's with us every day. And Liz and John have done a great job of keeping, the spirit moving along here, and participation has grown in 3 years, and we thank everybody for supporting and remembering Connor in the best of ways.
Yeah, and you guys make everybody feel like family. I feel like that's kind of what's going on. Like, I felt like I belong. Like, we're going back to their house tonight? Yeah, of course I'll come. Yeah.
I got to say, too, just sitting here, we're in, like, the backwoods of Connecticut, and I feel like this would be the most appropriate place to interview you. I don't know why, but it just feels like
he's the whaler.
He's
the whaler. Yeah.
Coach Q setting. So we're pumped for this. How would you rate our golf game 1 through 10?
Collectively, we'll say our group yesterday was, if there was, say, 25 groups, we probably might have been in the bottom 3. But I don't know. I didn't get all the scores. We didn't handicap it, but we were, and being honest with our games, I think we were, personally, I'm brutal. I don't enjoy golf anymore. I used to play it all right. Kevin's more passionate than we are. I thought Eddie was the most improved player, not just in our group, in the tournament yesterday.
I'll take that.
Yeah. And
nice.
Chief, Chief hit some great shots. We used your ball quite a bit yesterday, so it was we had fun. The fact that we were at par for the whole tournament was pretty amazing. So that's, I wouldn't say we overachieved, underachieved. Forecasting, I thought we probably hit what was going to be expected of our team.
We had fun.
The fun factor was great.
Yeah.
We were there for car bombs, cigars, and stories. That was it. That was our group.
Yeah, we got full activity in all 3 areas there.
I thought you were going to give us. He's fine. He was fine. The old Joel press conference. He's fine. Yeah, our game was fine.
But you just don't want to be. He was just okay.
Just okay. Yeah, he was just
okay means.
That means he's not dressing tomorrow. Yeah, typically that means he's not dressing tomorrow. Yeah.
That's what. So let's go through that scale then. So he's just fine. What does that really mean?
If you say he's just okay,
when he's fine, he's fine means that's pretty. That's
a compliment.
It's complimentary when he's fine. When he's okay, means okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. Mm-hmm. Just okay.
Pack your bags. Pack your shit.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Just is the key.
Yeah. Just okay means we're giving you the benefit of the doubt. Whether it's a mulligan, I don't know if you get the mulligan when you're just okay, but it's it's okay.
Back to the press box. Yeah.
That's great.
Well, that was, I always loved the press conference. We were saying yesterday, you don't really do the social media. I showed up, be like, oh, nice to meet you. I had no idea what you look like. Like, that was your first comment.
I hope I
to me.
didn't,
Yeah.
say anything bad about that.
Yeah, face
Because I
smash,
get all the scoops, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, you're talking about making a Twitter, right?
Yeah, when we start.
We'll take care of your Twitter. Just give me the login. You tell me scoops, and I'll filter them to myself.
Yeah, right.
It'll be great.
Okay.
Yeah. But and I guess it's just like I said. Like, to me, you are the greatest. Like, I think of all like some of my best memories with my family. My dad was sitting at section 112 watching you guys. So I kind of want to just go back through some of the glory days. I know we had a little bit of the golf course yesterday. Like, when I think of you guys and that run, the first thing, no matter what, other than the Cups, is those Vancouver series. And so, like, those, like, I want to know about the battles and things like that. So when you guys, did you kind of feel that coming? Is that a team that you marked off on your calendar, like, we have to be able to beat these guys?
Well, Vancouver had a ton of run-ins with Vancouver.
Yeah.
I go back even in the St. Louis days, but it's always seemed like Vancouver had a top team. You had to worry about the Sedin twins. You had to worry about, winning in Vancouver. But there was, there's always a team that was close, and every year they were a threat to win the championship, and knowing that you have to go through them to win was, I think, when you say Vancouver right away, I think of Buff standing in front of the net trying to get to Lou, and him influencing and getting in, whether he's on the power play in front of the net, whether he's playing D, but it just seemed like he was a big factor in a couple of those games and series. I think of Vancouver. I think of Kaner getting a hat trick one game. Look, that was a huge win for us. Some exciting. I think of Boley's line sometimes getting the assignment is trying to shut down Sedin's and trying to get under their skin. I think about we losing in Game 7 in overtime when Johnny scores an unbelievable key goal, shorty. We almost come back and won that series.
Who was the biggest, let's say, motherfucker during those years? During those years, you're like, this fucking guy on the opposing team. Was it the Sedins? Like, they're just like, they can't,
Kessler or
Doughty,
anybody from that
I think they had more than one or two guys that made them dangerous. You had Lou in the net. You had whoever you want to talk about on their back end, pretty steady, and they always played hard. They were very in-your-face type of team, and not a lot of room. But the Sedins really were, over the stretch of their career, and we were probably playing them in their prime when they played prime important games.
Yep.
So that was as good a test as you're going to get from any team or any player. But there's, every team has guys that are a pain in the butts.
Do you like when those rivalries get going when you're behind the bench, when it kind of turns into chaos and you're like, that game's on the calendar? Do you get a little extra juice for those?
Yeah, I think every game takes on a different complexion, and
Okay.
I think that as the game's going along here, you're, every game, it's sometimes when you expect that to happen, it's just the opposite, and sometimes you don't expect it, and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. So it's, you deal it accordingly. I think that the one thing our team having a ton of skill, the one thing I think a lot of teams might have underestimated is how competitive our team was, and how tough it was or is. And that was the one ingredient when you're talking about a Shazi, or you could talk about a check in line with Boley or Kruger, on the back end with Hammer and Dunks and Siebes and those guys playing big minutes and relentlessly playing. I mean, so that's the kind of toughness that you want. They're not going to get influenced by anything out there that's going to be, hey, this guy's tough, this guy's tough, this guy's tough. Doesn't stop us from doing what we had to do. They go to the hard areas. They know what it's like. And they make them pay when they want to do something stupid. And I think that our team, didn't change how we had to play. Whatever it took to win, that wouldn't prevent us from getting through things.
Now, is that something, that competitiveness, is that something that you have to foster, or is that like we just had the right guys, the right DNA, and like they just had it in their core? Is that something that you kind of stoke?
Well, I think as players, you got to be competitive as heck just to make the NHL. But I find that, there's, whether you're, I don't want to use the word complacent with it, but to be a good player in this league, you got to find a way to get yourself excited to play every night. And I was fortunate to be around some great players, but these guys they just didn't expect it to be great. They worked at being great, and that consistency is what the big part of making them great.
Yeah.
You know, like Johnny, relentless, right? The bigger the game, it was almost like he wanted to make it happen. He wanted to make a difference. Kaner got better every year we're there, you know, and he works on his game, and he likes moments, and he wants to get it done, and And as you get angry as you go along in some series, or after some tough lessons, or a tough game, a tough loss, a tough period, a tough shift, you know, sometimes you get pissed off at each other. And I think that can help galvanize a team where all of a sudden it's not a bad thing. And then all of a sudden there's that accountability internally. And you get a little bit more accountability, not just internally, as line mates. And it's like, you know, after shifts where they get on each other's back. And sometimes it's not really well received. And, you know, everybody sometimes, let's try to be positive. And it doesn't sound positive, but, hey, we all understand it. Hey, we're doing this to get the most out of each other. And sometimes you tell players, I'll you know, let me take care of this or whatever. At the end of the day, you know, we're going to war for one another and with one another.
That's, you know, we had we told you before, we're good friends with Scott Darling. He comes on the show all the time, and he told us a story about the time when you like to have a couple of the guys in the room the night before, right? You know, what was it, Crow, Kane, Taze,
Steves, and
yeah.
Keith. Like you would have like a little meeting, like almost like a leadership council is what it sounds like.
We did do that a lot, but
Okay.
we did have some stretches there where we did have a leadership group. As that our Chicago, you know, I think early in the Chicago era, we did have leadership groups. I think as we went along, the team changed so much. It was almost like, hey, everybody was an all-inclusive type of thing, and we're inviting everybody to grab some and be a part of it and share that. But it wasn't, you know, I think whether we learned from that or it was more of a committee by almost the whole group, and I think we that might have been an early on type of group. But we did have you know, a captain type of group, and there's some, whether sometimes you might have a situation where you're trying to, you know, get it rectified, but not a lot of secrets in the game. I think that you know, let's get everything out in the open, and let's communicate, and let's find a way to you know, solve anybody's issue and make each other discover their problem, discover why they're not playing the way they should or could, and whether it's coach's job, primarily it is our job at first, but the players, you know, they know, you know, Johnny's a smart guy. He kind of knows what, you know, where there can be some help, but we try to make sure that we max out on every single player.
Yeah, so so there was like a give and take between you and some of the guys. Like you'll listen to them if they come to you, like Kane, Taves, all those guys.
Yeah. Sometimes they're invited, and sometimes, you know, on their own they might just feel that they're, you know, they're always comfortable or welcome to come up and some ideas. And you know when guys are frustrated, and you know when guys are not happy, however that message is sent, whether it's body language or a conversation. You know where everybody in the team sits, and you know the one thing that everybody gets upset about, and it's clearly the most obvious thing is ice time. All right, it's in the quantity of the ice time. And the guys that don't play, they pissed off at you, and that's why certain guys on the team, you know, don't like the coach, or they're not happy with the coach, or they all want more. They all want more quality. Whether it's a shift on a power play, or you're losing a shift on a PK situation, these guys all really, like, that really gets to them, where they all want to be out in that situation. And I think that as a coach, the greatest, I don't know if it's a toy or the greatest thing we have incentive-wise is ice time. And how we motivate guys, whether that motivates them or not, to me, it's just how we delegate it. It's based on how you play and how you compete. And if you know, you're going to get rewarded by, you know, excelling in those areas. But that's to me, that's where we do a lot of communicating. And sometimes they need an explanation why, and that's why. That'll be the answer.
Was there a moment after you took over? I guess that would have been 2009, when you were like, we're going to win big here. Is there some moment in your head where it clicked for you? Like, because it was still a very young team, they hadn't done it yet. But did you have is there anything that sticks out in your early days with the Hawks? You're like, this is going to be it. This is going to be a team.
Well, I think right off the bat that year, and we go to the conference finals with Chicago, Detroit.
Yeah.
In Detroit, and all of a sudden Detroit's got a great team.
Oh yeah.
We're in the conference finals. All of a sudden, hey, this is unbelievable. And these guys, right off the bat, they playing big games. That Detroit series, 5 games, might have been closer than 5 games. But it was we played against the best team. We learned what it's like to all of a sudden to play meaningful hockey. Just making the playoffs wasn't really all of a sudden. That was the best lesson we probably could have ever had, is playing 3 rounds right off the bat, and knowing that, hey, we can get this done. And the thing that we enjoyed is that these guys really wanted to win, and you could taste it right away. That these guys are not just happy to be good young players; they wanted to be champions.
Yeah. Is that something that you see similarities with your team now in Florida? Is there any crossover there?
No, it's a good question. I think last year we took a gigantic step forward in the competitiveness and skill level. We've got some very talented guys. We got some good young players as well. And playing against Tampa this year, we learned that what it takes. And that was whether it was 3 rounds in that opening year or this year's playoff. Florida hasn't won in the playoffs in a long time, but Chicago hadn't won a cup in a long time too. So it's Tampa goes on to win. They go back to back. In championship seasons, you learn what in a couple of situations you can look back. And I find that no matter if you're playing round 1 through 4, there's always a defining moment in one game that you can say and you look back on, if this would have happened, or we got lucky here because this happened, and that might have been the turning point, and that could have been a key signature moment of a series. But I thought we did everything you'd want to do against Tampa, which gives you some excitement that we've got a lot of good ingredients of what it takes to win. But the thing is that we appreciate is that we're competitive. And we felt that I started feeling those signs of when we were winning, what it felt like with our group, knowing that you start to acquire a belief, and you start the accountability internally that we talked. And all of a sudden now, hey, it's a long season. We're in the most competitive division in the league. It's going to be tough making the playoffs this year, but I like our team, and but the thoughts brought me back to those years.
Going back to the ice time thing, is there a guy? Obviously, we all know the stars and the core group of those teams. Is there a guy that maybe you kind of squabbled with about ice time, and he ended up proving you wrong? And it was like a moment where you're like, this guy, he really, immensely proud of him and whatnot.
Well, I look back and you got guys that are not dressed or not playing as much as they'd like, and we look back and you're sitting there. There's a playoff series one time, and we're I scratched one of the guys, and everybody was upset with me. I think upstairs might have been upset with me. Johnny was upset with me, and and we lost the game. So it was a moment where I could have made a bad decision. I'm comfortable with the decision we made at the time, and we ended up winning. And it was at the same time, at that moment, felt like, oh Jesus, this is we got to get back on our horse here. We can't give in to that excuse. And the player is not happy with you. I don't want to say his buddies, but he's got some support around his teammates. And hey, you can't sit and stew on that one, because that's how you get dissension, and all of a sudden you get guys pointing fingers, and it's all the dissension starts, and the coach is an idiot, and it's hey, we make a lot of bad decisions on it, and when you're putting 5 new guys on the ice every 30 seconds. So it's like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's not like you can't forecast what's going to happen. You just like I like our options, because we had a very deep team and a lot of options to put the next 5 guys out there.
Yeah, a lot of good players. And now, going back to the end of your run in Chicago, and where you got dismissed, and you stayed local, and you pop up in the Bears tailgate. Are you aware of like the level of adoration Chicago still has for you, or is that just something you don't consider or think about?
I went there with the family, and it was a night out, and I went to one or two Bears game a year and participated before the game started in the parking lot, and I love that. I love going to football games. I love going to Bear games. Now I'm a Dolphins fan, but it's I still root for Coach. But anyways, we had fun before the game, and I can't say enough good things about the fans and how big the Hawks through a great stretch there were around town, and being a part of that and that support was noticeable. The building was spectacular and special. Very fortunate to walk into Chicago when we did. We had a team sitting on goal, and that coach is going to be coaching a heck of a hockey team.
Yeah. And
so I am appreciative of knowing that there's great players there, and being a part of that, and the town accepting us all was fun to be a part of that.
Except for the people that are giving you crap about Costco. You just let the guy get his water at Costco, right?
Yeah, well, I love that one. But we're only allowed to be 5 minutes. I'll meet you at the cash register. You go your way, I go my way. I'm gonna get the water, okay? And I love shopping at Costco.
Confirm, no free ads, but Joel's a big Costco guy. And I guess the other question I would have is, like, how would you describe, like, the nature of your professional relationship with management back in Chicago?
Well, we're respectful. I think everybody has their roles and responsibilities. I think that you had John and Jay and Al, and then Dale, and then Stan. Bergie was around, Norm was around, Chevy was around. Kind of like changed a little bit in those earlier years, and then but I think that they're upstairs, we're downstairs. I think there's some is respectful for their space and our space. Stan would be around Norm a lot. Most of the time they were there the longest. I think after games we talk about things. You talk about things, regularly, and everybody had a job to do. Everybody had. We had a lot of personnel, hockey people in the organization, and there's a lot of opinions. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys that saw a lot of these guys, and you got to give these guys some credit for finding some great players or some great pieces, and willing to make some risky trades at the end of the year, trying to get that right piece, knowing that you're giving up a lot just to try to hopefully win. And but a couple of those things turned out to be masterpieces. Yeah.
And just quickly, if you want to, like, kind of punt on a question, feel free to do that. Okay, all right.
So how far did I kick that one?
Over the high road, Joel. Over the high road.
We're in the washing machine.
Yeah,
that was a big Anna would say, and Boo would say, we're in the washing machine.
Yeah. And I guess so. Then, on that same vein, how were you feeling on draft day 2017? Because that was a day where they really took a change of direction and getting rid of a guy like Hjalmarsson, and then also Panarin within like 4 hours of each other. Do you remember what you felt at that time, or?
Well, I think one thing is you're there, you're going to war, and decisions are made, and we move forward, and that's it. And whether I'm in the washing machine or not, but that's basically how we roll.
Yeah.
And every organization has, you can talk to people in every organization. Everybody has their way of doing things, and you think the grass is greener on the other side. There's no reason to complain about the way things are. Yep. So you look at your own situation there, and then you look back and you hear other things, and you say, I was pretty lucky.
What about the day you found out it was over for you? What was the emotion there? Were you surprised? Were you upset? Did you look back and think of all the good times? What was that like?
Well, I was surprised, and the bitterness is almost like the bitterness all of a sudden, and then you think of the memories. Yeah. Helped me overcome that bitterness and move on. And it was I can remember like it was yesterday, because we played Calgary that day. It was we were playing Calgary. Dunks gets a major, gets 2, 5, and 10. I think he might have got a game misconduct too. But they had a guy in the box. We had a guy in the box. Dunks has got a 5-minute major, so his major's over. But we don't have a guy in the box, so now we got to go 7 minutes deep, maybe killing that penalty.
Yep.
And we lose the game. We weren't supposed to come home that night after the game. They changed plans on us as opposed to coming back Sunday, and we came back right after. And then we got home. I got home around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then we got a phone call from Dylan and hysterics. And that was the morning we found Connor. And that was a tough day. And then Tuesday, I think it was, when we went in, we had Monday off after we got, I think we had kind of like a day and a half off almost, or 2. And I'm not sure if it was a Monday or the Tuesday, but I think it was Tuesday. And then it was a day, I was relieved.
Yeah.
Of my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah.
Tough stretch there.
Yeah. Very, very tough. So, yeah, I know. And you see the quote from Kaner. I think he had like the flu or something like in the Vancouver game the day before, and he's like, "Man, if I wasn't sick that day, we get the win that night, and everything's fine, and everything's the same, so it's like one of those kind of butterfly effect type.
But yeah, you look around coaches. I mean, we don't expect to be there forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing is that you want to make it great and you want to have it fun every year, and I don't think you want to look any further than 1 year. And I think right now at this stage of my career, that's all I look at right now.
Yeah.
1 year at a time, and we're going to do our best we can and try to keep it as fun and make it fun for the guys, and that's where we roll.
Well, that was one of my favorite comments from your wife the other day. It was like, we rented the house for like 9 years, and we finally built one.
That was a kiss at death. You know that was the end of it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. 3 cups, 10 years. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Let's do it. I got to see myself ending here. This is what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
What was the goodbye like with those guys?
Well, I didn't, I talked to probably almost all of the guys, but I didn't have a formal in front of all the guys to say thank you and that. But over the years, or at that time, I did speak to a lot of them, and it was, it's what it is. I know that tough parts in the coaching business is moving on, players being traded. So I've been in both ends of it, and knowing that it's the change. Sometimes they say the next job's always going to be your better job. So it's I don't know if I could say that we could do anything better than what we did in Chicago, but the memories, and that's why exiting there, the memories were so good, and I can remember telling Rocky that. I mean, hey, thank you. I can, that's why it was always special.
Yeah, I mean, the memories are there for us for sure, Coach. So it's, it's Joel Quenneville, Mike Ditka, Phil Jackson.
Yeah, that's it. That's George Hallis. That's the Rushmore.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're they should put your face on like the top of the Sears Tower or something like that.
Exactly.
That's kind of how we think about
it. Oh, you guys settle down.
But yeah, I think, Coach, I think that's all we have for you. Thanks so much for your time, and again for having us out here. Thrill for me. I said like you're my white whale guest to have on this show. So now we've finally done it. It's been incredible. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
And for the record too, we were invited to Florida.
We'll see you at Christmas.
We'll see you at Christmas, and it is now our goal. Yeah. We'll do more of these. It's our goal to put a little stick in the spoke of the washing machine every time we talk to you. So this is just number one, people. We're going to talk to them.
So you gave me a mulligan today.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll get this.
Okay. You just wanted me in the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, and the last thing is I've invited you to join our syndicate, our horse racing syndicate. Yeah. We keep him at Gulfstream in the winter. It's like, what do we have to do to get Joel in our group?
Oh, this is on. We just got a partnership again. We've had it Windsor Boys Racing now. We've had probably about 6 or 7 years where we're working with John Secura, and Johnny's had some. We've had some great horses, and this year is 1 year where it looks like we got to get back and get another group going, another group of horses I'm talking about.
Okay.
So we got about 7 or 8 horses coming on board here, and next year we'll probably have 3 or 4 2-year-olds in the next 2 years. And so we got some horses coming, and so I'll keep an eye on your horses.
Thank
and,
you.
I look forward
Jay.
to it.
He's a Cairo Prince.
Oh yeah, okay, good lines.
Yep.
Yeah,
feel good about it.
It's gonna be fast. It's gonna be a fast horse.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. My horse has been slow this summer. Oh my God, they've been slow.
All right. Well, we'll see you at Gulfstream in maybe February for when the track opens.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
and then one more time,
one
too,
more?
obviously, Connor Scott Zeke Foundation,
Mm-hmm.
CSZIEKYFund.org. Go check it out. It's a great cause. And, I think a lot of people have been affected by this. So, just if you could find it to donate or do something for the organization, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys participating and being here today.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.